Have you ever read a sweet romance novel and felt like you could step right into the middle of the town? You could smell the bakery, you could hear the church bells, you could picture the harbor, the bookstore, the coffee shop, and the streets decorated for the town festival. That's not happening because the author spent pages and pages describing the buildings. It's really happening because the writer used tiny details that made the setting come alive. In case we haven't met, I'm Lorna Faith, and I write clean adventure fiction, and I also write contemporary sweet romance with my pen name Melody Archer. I love helping beginning and struggling writers to write and self-publish sweet romance books that are deeply meaningful stories that readers love. In today's video, I want to share with you 5 tiny details that can transform your sweet romance setting from a backdrop into a place readers never want to leave. So let's get into it. Detail number 1, give your setting a signature sound. Beginning writers often describe what readers can see, but real places are remembered through sound. Ask yourself, what does your town sound like? Some examples might be a coastal town set near the ocean might include seagulls crying overhead, boat masts clinking together, distant foghorns, or waves tapping against the docks. A small town main street might include a bell above a bakery door, or children laughing in the park, church bells ringing every Sunday morning. Here's an example from Jack and Emily's story. Instead of writing, Jack walked down to the harbor, instead I could write it like this. The familiar clang of halyards against sailboat masts echoed across the marina while gulls wheeled overhead. Now the harbor feels very real. These are the tiny details that really help your sweet romance setting to feel fully alive for your readers. And if you're struggling to write meaningful sweet romance stories that readers truly feel, you can grab my Sweet Romance Story Starter Pack at the link below this video. You'll discover how to write unforgettable, slow burn, small town sweet romance. Plus, you'll get worksheets and story examples to help bring your characters and settings to life. Next, we'll talk about detail number 2. Create a signature smell in your setting. Smell is one of the fastest ways to trigger memory, and readers love settings that feel familiar. Some examples might be cinnamon rolls in a bakery, the smell of fresh coffee, the scent of ocean salt that wafts through the air in a coastal town, rain on a warm pavement, or pine trees after a storm in a mountain small town setting. Here's an example from Jack and Emily's story. When Emily enters Aunt Dottie's coffee shop, she immediately notices freshly ground coffee, cinnamon scones, the scent of warm vanilla wafting through the air. Those smells create emotional comfort for our readers. Detail number 3. Add one recurring local tradition that happens in your small town. Readers love places that feel lived in. One recurring tradition can make an entire town feel very real. Some examples might be, perhaps there's Friday night concerts that are put on by the locals in the small town, or seasonal festivals during a holiday like Christmas, or lighthouse celebrations. Perhaps there's a Christmas tree lighting that happens every year, or there's farmer markets that happen annually. In Jack and Emily's story example, every year their small coastal town hosts a Harbor Lights festival. As the story progresses, readers begin to anticipate it, and now the small town starts to feel alive beyond the sweet romance. Detail number 4. Include small signs of everyday life. Many settings can feel too generic because they are far too clean. Real places have imperfections in both the setting and the people. Some examples might be chipped paint on the nearby dock, handwritten signs, flowers in old barrels, bicycles leaning against fences, or dogs sleeping outside the shops. These details create authenticity and really bring your readers into your small town setting, a place where they never want to leave. And that's really what you want. In my example from Jack and Emily, Emily notices a faded wooden sign hanging crooked outside an old bait shop. That tiny detail says more than an entire paragraph of description. Detail number 5. Connect setting to emotion. This might be the most important detail of all. The setting should reflect emotional experience for your characters and for your readers. From my story with Jack and Emily, early in the story, the harbor feels very lonely. Fog drifts over empty docks. And then later on, the same harbor feels welcoming. Lights glow on the water. Families stroll along the boardwalk. The setting hasn't changed, but Emily has really changed. And that's really what you want. You can show how the characters are feeling and even their emotions by how you portray the setting. You can really show the characters' transformation throughout the different scenes as the story progresses. That will really help your setting feel alive to your readers. Some final thoughts. Readers don't fall in love with settings because they're beautiful. They fall in love with settings because they feel very real to them. And real places are built through tiny details. Not dozens of details, just the right ones. The smell of coffee, the creak of a dock, the lighthouse in the distance, the annual town festival, the familiar bell above the bakery door. Those tiny details create the places that readers really remember. And now that you have more ideas on how to create real settings that sweet romance readers love, you might be ready to learn more about writing heartwarming scenes. I'll see you in the next video.